Hi, it's Sarah with Ampersand Unique Gifts and Home Decor. Welcome to or welcome back to my channel. This is video or part number 3 of the Reclaiming My Space, Reclaiming My Basement series. First was an introduction, and then the last video we worked a little bit in my craft room and finished up some thrift flips. Well, as promised in that one, we are doing part 3, and I am working on items that were not in my craft room but were sitting around in the main space. So thanks for being here. Stick around and let's see what we can get done, and I'll see you on the flip side. So we're going to start with this pile, and this is it started out as a workspace that was separate from the craft room again because it was so overwhelming that I moved some stuff out here, and then like other spaces it became the dumping ground. So we've got some items we're going to start with. First of all, we're going to look at my failed attempt at a paint inlay. The IOD sisters came out with this awesome idea of paint inlays, and the lesson that I learned right off the bat is that if you attempt to seal them with a brush with something when they're still a little bit wet, it smears it. So we're going to see, I'm going to sand this and try to distress it a little bit better. I distressed around the sides, and then I'm going to also use a dark wax on it. So that will be project number 1. After I gave it a little bit more sanding, I am now using the DIY brand Clear Wax, and I cover everything with a clear wax first. Then I'm going to use the Kilz dark wax. And I use the clear wax just to give me a little bit more control with the dark wax. If I get a little bit much and I need to help lift it up, the clear wax helps to, you can kind of wipe it off, or if you need to even add a little bit more clear wax as an eraser. So I start out just putting it all around in the creases, and then there's enough on my rag when I wipe it that it will go, I can wipe the whole rest of it and it'll give it that look. So the bottom of it, 2 things. One is apparently I bought this at Goodwill, and they always write in Sharpie right on wood products. But the other thing is I wanted the bottom of this to really have a nice finished look to help kind of keep it crisp after the design was now a little more distressed than planned. So I just trace around it. This cloth, I usually use felt, but this is sort of a canvas duck cloth. So it's very heavy, and I thought that would make a great bottom. So using the, I'm using liquid patina here from DIY brand. It's great. I think it's one of the best things. You can use Mod Podge or other items, but I really like to use this for my decoupaging. So I put it on there, I smooth it out, and then I put 2 more coats. All right, project number 2, turning these 3 bowls into a hanging tiered tray. I'm going to cover all 3 of them with DIY brand in Apothecary. Then once they've dried, I only did 1 coat. Once they've dried, I'm just sanding them with some 220 to bring back some of that wood tone and give them a nice aged, distressed look. I do that to all 3 of them, and then I cover them with the DIY clear wax. This chalk paint needs, all chalk paint needs a good sealant, and this wax is absolutely perfect. You can see it makes it look a little darker. The final color is somewhere between the original and the dark. Then I wipe off any extra so that they can sit and it will cure. Okay, so after I let the wax dry overnight, or kind of cure, I used a brush, and I just use, it's a shoe shine brush, and it will just make it look all, you know, it's a little bit shiny, but not so shiny. And they make really expensive buffing brushes for this, but I have found that this works perfectly. Okay, so now I took the one that seemed kind of the biggest. These 2 are about the same size. And I have 3 equal parts of rope. This is actually Dollar Tree rope. And I just put a knot in the bottom and put it up through the hole. So I'm going to do the same thing with all 3 pieces, and go ahead and get my first one, and then I'm going to tie another knot and then put my second one on and third one. So here we go. Now would be a good time to note that I just realized that I put 4 holes, and the last one I did, I put 3 holes, so now I need to go get another section of rope. Be back. Okay, so we got all of it put together. I went and got my 4th piece of rope. It was a bear getting these even, because even though I would hold them up to each other and they would look like they were straight, I think the bowl might have just a little bit of enough of a variation that I definitely struggled. So I will show a picture at the end of what it looks like. What I'm doing right now is just kind of taking these and pulling them apart a little bit, just to give it a little bit of a finished look and kind of cute. And then the next thing is I'm going to put rings on it. I have several different kinds of rings. Some are like, you know, like a keychain ring, or one of the little hooks. So this one actually comes open and then closes back up. And then these are like little macrame rings. So I'm going to see which one works the best, so that I can put a ring to make it easier to hang up here, so that they're not trying to hang it by this piece, but they can actually have a ring to hang it. So anyway, yeah, that's it. We're finished. And this one will be finished, and we're going to move on and get our quilt holder back together. So next up. I did one after the other, but this thing or embroidery stand, and I am going to paint it with that same DIY brand Apothecary. I just felt that it needed a little upgrade and a little facelift, so I am going to paint all of the pieces with that same color. Because this paint is so pigmented, it only took 1 coat to have full coverage on all the pieces. So I did both hoops and the legs all with 1 coat of this one Apothecary color. Once everything dried really well overnight, then I used 220 sandpaper, and I went in and I made all of the pieces smooth, and then I also distressed on all of the edges. Again, just giving it kind of that old, worn look for a vintage piece. I'm using the Sweet Pickins top coat for this rather than use the wax. I just felt, because this would be something that users would have, whether they're using it every day for their actual projects or they're using it just to display. I felt that having a coverage, a sealer that would dry, would be a better fit for this. After everything's painted, sealed, and dried, the next challenge is trying to remember where all of those bolts and butterfly nuts and pieces go. This one had a little bit of paint stuck in the hole, so I had to work to get it in there. But I was able to get everything put back together the way that it goes, mixing in each of the washers and the screws, and looking at a picture I had taken of the before. Then I got everything put back together the way it was supposed to be. you.